Star Trek is a 2009 American science fiction adventure film directed by J.J. Abrams, written by Roberto Orci and Alex Kurtzman, and distributed by Paramount Pictures. It is the 11th film of the Star Trek film franchise and is also a reboot that features the main characters of the original Star Trek television series, portrayed by a new cast and the first in the reboot series. The film follows James T. Kirk and Spock aboard the US Enterprise as they combat Nero, a Romulan from their future who threatens the United Federation of Planets. The story takes place in an alternate reality because of time travel by both Nero and the original Spock. The alternate timeline was created in an attempt to free the film and the franchise from established continuity constraints while simultaneously preserving original story elements. The concept resurfaced temporarily in the late 1980s, when it was postulated by Harvey Bennett as a possible plotline for the movie that would become Star Trek V: The Undiscovered Country, but was rejected in lieu of other projects by Roddenberry. Following the critical and commercial failure of Star Trek Nemesis and the cancellation of the television series Star Trek Enterprise, franchise executive producer Rick Berman and screenwriter Eric Jendrason wrote an unproduced film, titled Star Trek: The Beginning, which would take place after Enterprise. After the separation between Viacom and CBS Corporation, former Paramount president Gail Berman convinced CBS to produce a feature film. Orci and Kurtzman, both fans of the Star Trek series, were approached to write the film and Abrams was approached to direct it. Kurtzman and Orci used inspiration from novels and graduate school dissertations as well as the series itself. Principal photography commenced on November 7, 2007 and ended on March 27, 2008. The film was shot in various locations around California and Utah. Abrams wanted to avoid using blue screen and green screen, opting to use sets and locations instead. Heavy secrecy surrounded the film's production and was under the fake working title Corporate Headquarters. Industrial Light and Magic used digital ships for the film, as opposed to the previous films in the franchise. Production for the film concluded by the end of 2008. Star Trek was heavily promoted the months preceding its release. Pre-release screenings for the film premiered in select cities around the world, including Austin, Texas, Sydney, Australia, and Calgary, Alberta. It was released in the United States and Canada on May 8, 2009, to positive reviews. Critics praised the character development as well as the storyline in the film. Star Trek became a box office success, grossing over $385.7 million worldwide. It was nominated for several awards, including 4 Academy Awards at the 82nd Academy Awards, ultimately winning in the category for Best Makeup, making it the first Star Trek film to win an Academy Award. The DVD and Blu-ray for the film were released on November 17, 2009. Following the success of the film, its cast members signed on for 2 sequels, making Star Trek the first of a planned trilogy. A sequel, Star Trek Into Darkness, was released on May 16, 2013 with Abrams returning as director and Orci and Kurtzman returning as screenwriters. A second sequel, Star Trek Beyond, is scheduled to be released on July 22, 2016. Plot: in the 23rd century, the Federation starship US Kelvin is investigating a lightning storm in space. A Romulan ship, the Narada, emerges from the storm and attacks the Kelvin. Narada's first officer, Isle, demands that the Kelvin's Captain Robow come aboard to negotiate a truce. Robow is questioned about the current stardate and Ambassador Spock, whom he does not recognize. Narada's commander, Nero, kills him, and resumes attacking the Kelvin. George Kirk, the Kelvin's first officer, orders the ship's personnel, including his pregnant wife Winona, to abandon ship while he pilots the Kelvin on a collision course with the Narada. As the autopilot function is damaged, Kirk sacrifices his life to ensure Winona's survival as she gives birth to James T. Kirk. 17 years later, on the planet Vulcan, a young Spock is accepted to join the Vulcan Science Academy. Realizing the Academy views his human mother Amanda as of disadvantage, he joins Starfleet instead. On Earth, Kirk becomes a reckless but intelligent young adult. In 2255, after a bar fight with Starfleet cadets accompanying Nyota Uhura, Kirk meets Captain Christopher Pike, who encourages him to enlist in Starfleet Academy, where Kirk meets and befriends Dr. Leonard McCoy. 3 years later, Commander Spock accuses Kirk of cheating during the Kobayashi Maru simulation. Kirk argues that cheating was acceptable because the simulation was designed to be unbeatable. The disciplinary hearing is interrupted by a distress signal from Vulcan. With the primary fleet out of range, the cadets are mobilized. McCoy and Kirk board Pike's ship, the Enterprise. Realizing that the lightning storm observed near Vulcan is similar to the one that occurred when he was born, Kirk breaks protocol to convince Pike that the distress signal is a trap. Enterprise finds the fleet destroyed and the Narada drilling into Vulcan's core. The Narada attacks the Enterprise and Pike surrenders, delegating command of the ship to Spock and promoting Kirk to first officer. Kirk, Hikaru Sulu and Chief Engineer Olson perform a space jump onto the drilling platform. Olson is killed but Kirk and Sulu disable the drill. Despite their efforts, Nero launches red matter into Vulcan's core, forming an artificial black hole that destroys Vulcan. Spock rescues the High Council and his father Sarek, but Amanda dies. As the Narada moves toward Earth, Nero tortures Pike to gain access to Earth's defense codes. Spock maroons Kirk on Delta Vega after Kirk attempts mutiny. Kirk encounters an older Spock, who explains that he and Nero are from 129 years in the future. In that future, Romulus was threatened by a supernova. Spock's attempt to use red matter to create an artificial black hole and consume the supernova failed, and Nero's family perished along with Romulus. Narada and Spock's vessel were caught in the black hole, sending them back in time. Nero stranded Spock on Delta Vega to watch Vulcan's destruction. Reaching a Starfleet outpost, Kirk and the elder Spock meet Montgomery Scott. With the elder Spock's help, Kirk and Scott beam onto the Enterprise. Following the elder Spock's advice, Kirk provokes younger Spock into attacking him, forcing Spock to recognize he is emotionally compromised and relinquish command to Kirk. After talking with Sarek, Spock decides to help Kirk. While the Enterprise hides itself within the gas clouds of Titan, Kirk and Spock beam aboard the Narada. Kirk fights with Nero and Isle, killing the latter and rescuing Pike while Spock uses the elder Spock's ship to destroy the drill. Spock leads the Narada away from Earth and sets his ship to collide with Nero's ship. Enterprise beams Kirk, Pike and Spock aboard. The older Spock's ship and the Narada collide, igniting the red matter. Kirk offers Nero help to escape, but Nero refuses, prompting Kirk to give the order to fire, dooming Nero and the Narada to be consumed in a black hole. Kirk is promoted to captain and given command of the Enterprise while Pike is promoted to rear admiral. Spock encounters his older self, who persuades his younger self to continue serving in Starfleet, encouraging him to do what feels right instead of what is logical. Spock remains in Starfleet, becoming first officer under Kirk's command. The Enterprise goes to warp as the elder Spock speaks the "where no one has gone before" monologue in voiceover.